ago, and the Fordham Rams, excuse me, as we get set for the women's side in just a moment here. We're talking a little bit about it. Where are we at now as we get set to see them in action coming up this November?
What I hear loud and clear is maturity. That was a confident coach.
Yep.
Right? That was not a guy coming off of a 13 and 20 year.
Right.
That he has maturity because he believes the guys in his locker room.
Ice, do we move on to the women's side here for the Fordham Rams?
Yeah, I got to talk about the Fordham Rams. Preseason pick number 9. They're tied with Loyola Chicago. Last season's record, they were 13 and 17 overall, but 8 and 10 in the A10. That helped them towards the end in terms of getting into the tournament and performing. The player that we have to talk about, and we will get to talk to, is Taylor Donaldson. Coach, we were just chatting about her and her production, but talking about a lethal scorer that can shoot the ball from lights out with deep range from 3. Also, though, is a two-way player. I love two-way players. I could care less how much you could score if you also don't care to defend. She, though, was leading the A10 in steals. Sorry, second in the league in steals, 62 a game. Just super productive, and then ranked 12th in the nation in three-pointers per game. I'll give you a fun fact. I was top 10 my last year in school, and that was really hard. It's really hard.
Ice, stop. Would you please stop? You think I didn't do my homework or what?
Of course not.
Come on.
Of course not. But I just know how hard that is. You got to knock them down consistently, and
I
she
went
does.
back. I watched some of your VCH tapes.
You went back in the film.
I had my VCR. I was banging the side of it. Come on, work one more time. Don't be talking to me about DVDs, Ice.
Let's not talk about my defense then. But Taylor, she plays defense.
Been outstanding. You talked about some of the numbers. It's pretty incredible. Great shooter from the outside. Led all the A10 in scoring last year. Huge to have that kind of player back. And that's the thing. It's retention, right? Where were we talking about that? Trying to keep someone to that caliber, and that's pretty good.
100%. And then another transfer that they brought in, a 6'1" grad from Marist. Marist players always have extremely high IQ. They have great system, is Zaria Shazer. She averaged over 35 minutes per game last year in Marist. It tells you that she has a high motor, but also a tremendous rebounder, averaged 8 rebounds a game. And so I feel like with Donaldson on the outside, knocking down shots and being able to get in the paint, but you also now add Shazer, a mature, experienced player that can rebound and score in the paint. I think Fordham is coming with a little bit more. We might have to check that number 9 when it's all said and done.
All right, sounds good. Coach Mitchell, along with Donaldson, is at the podium now. We'll hear from them, and then we'll come back and we'll talk with Taylor right after this press conference is over.
All right, joining us on the dais now from the Fordham women's basketball program, head coach Bridgette Mitchell and student athlete Taylor Donaldson. Coach, if you wouldn't mind just giving us a quick opening statement on the state of your program.
Yes, thanks for having us here. Thanks for the A10 for hosting this great media day. Fordham women's basketball, we are young and excited. We're hungry. We come out and we compete every day. And it's been a joy to coach this team thus far this season.
Perfect. Thank you, Coach. And at this time, we'll open it up to questions.
Coach B, Zach Weiss, Atlantic10.com. Good to always see you. First question's obviously just what learning lessons did you take from year 1 last season and apply it, especially addressing these newfound talents that you mentioned in your opener?
Definitely. I think with our team last year, a lot of the scoring fell on Taylor, and she rose to the occasion, leading our league in scoring and showed her skill set. And I think a huge emphasis that my staff and I made during this recruiting time out of the transfer portal and our true freshmen were to get some people that could complement her skill set. And so I think that we did a really good job of going out and getting those. We have Irene, who's coming from Detroit Mercy, where she scored over 1,000 points in 3 seasons. Zara Shazer coming from Marist. She's going to complement that as well. And then we have dynamic guards that play on both sides of the ball, and that comes from our freshman Anastasia from Canada, as well as Shay, who comes from App State. And so I think that we made a conscious effort to go out and get players that could help Taylor in her scoring efforts, so that we can be a dominant all-around team. And I think that we did a good job of fulfilling that need that our program had.
Chris Powell, Couch Coach Live. Coach, as far as from a preseason perspective, what has stood out to you thus far?
For our team specifically,
for your team,
or
yes.
the league? Okay. Yeah, for our team specifically, we had an opportunity to go to Greece and play against some pros and travel and see the world with the sport that we love. And so I think that for us, we realized how much fun basketball genuinely is, right? And so when you go back to it in its purest form, it's a lot of fun and you remember why you play. And so we had an opportunity to create some moments and memories for us to use throughout the year. This is why you play. You know, sometimes it is going to get tough, but you love this game and you love playing with each other, and we're truly connected. And so that's something that playing this off season really instilled in our program.
Matt Materno for Mid-Major Madness. For Taylor, that overseas trip, how nice was that for you to get to bond with all the new teammates and new faces on the roster?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, obviously having a almost brand new team, you know, getting to know each other, and I think it brought a lot of us closer and being able to learn each other's game but while also having fun. So I think that was really important for us.
What would you like for your team's identity to be this season, Coach?
Definitely. I think that, you know, we're going to be a relentless team, right? And then when you talk about relentlessness and resourcefulness, right, we had Taylor who could score, and now we have more people that can score, right? So going to whoever the hot hand is and not being upset about that, you know, encouraging them and supporting them, because on any given night, it can be any one of our players. And that's really special. When you have a team that can do that, you don't know how the season's going to go and how the season's going to end. But we're going to trust the process and the work that we do daily so that we can prepare for those moments. But to answer your question, I would definitely say we're going to be gritty on that defensive end. We're going to bring maximum pressure. We're going to play with a lot of passion. You'll feel the energy when you're sitting in the stands or you're watching us on TV that we play with. And then we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be fun watching us on the offensive end, seeing, you know, our Amaya Ferguson doing her behind-the-back passes and them, you know, TD raining threes. It's a lot of fun to watch when you have a team full of different skills.
Taylor, congratulations on being named first team. What was your thoughts on being named first team all conference?
I mean, it's a blessing, obviously. Any personal accolade is always a blessing, but I mean, I obviously want more as a team. We want to win a championship, so I feel like that's the main goal.
Taylor, what did you learn about yourself on the court and off the court, and how has that made you a better version of yourself for this season?
Yeah, I feel like on the court, definitely last year, my confidence grew as the season went on. And I feel like I became more of a leader on and off the floor. And I think now, definitely with a new team and a younger team, I've learned that I am the vocal leader on the team and also the leader by example.
Coach B, you mentioned Yelena and just what she's been able to bring. She has the ability to put the ball in the basket, but what have you seen from a compete level perspective that's really brought a new level of intensity to the Rams?
Definitely. I think our interior game is really strong. We do a lot of testing over the summer, and all of our post players, they ran in guard time, right? And so when you talk about a team that wants to play fast, we have the pieces that can do it. And then in the weight room, right, our strength and conditioning program is elite, and so we have the opportunity to build their strength. One of the biggest things that Irene talked about, she was like, you know, I haven't had to lift this much and do this much conditioning at my previous experience. And so for her, that was a huge statement, right, to say, you know, to own that this is new for her, even though she's been in college for 4 years. And she was able to really tap into that, and she owned it, and she got better in the weight room. And so from a physicality standpoint, she's been able to hold her own, and then as well as finish, right? So she can shoot from the perimeter as well as be dominant inside. And so she's really showcasing her versatility, and we're going to look to showcase that to the rest of the league.
Thank you both, and good luck this season.
Thanks.
All right, we'll be back and talk with Taylor Donaldson more in just a moment here. But what did we hear from those last two?
Yeah, what I want to say is, you know, Coach Mitchell won CAA Coach of the Year in 2023 with Northeastern, took them to their first regular season title that they had ever experienced there. Now, Fordham women's basketball has had success in past years, right? Head coach Stephanie Gately won a championship. They were championship contenders. I think Coach Mitchell has the ability to take this team back to where they were. She's a young coach. She can relate to her players. She was an outstanding player herself, McDonald's All-American, played at Duke, Sweet 16s. And so I'm really excited to see the growth that she can have, but especially experiencing so much success early in her season, you hope that continues with the Rams.
A lot of tradition and history, you know, for Fordham. It goes back a long time. Like we talk about, right, Rose Hill. I mean, your experiences in that gymnasium there, Phil, the oldest of the nation. But, you know, now we're starting to see a little bit more now, right? I mean, because the men's side have picked it up a little bit. We'll see what Ergo does with that team. But you just mentioned a great point right there. I mean, there's some tradition there.
Well, and the idea of doing it in New York,
Yeah.
you know, like that's there's a lot going on. So you really have to be special to get attention. And that's what you feel from both of these coaches, that they're going to get their piece of the pie. It may not be a big piece of the pie because New York has all these other things, but get your piece of the pie. It's good for the Atlantic 10 when New York is good, right? If Fordham's good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's good for the Atlantic 10.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. We were there on a Friday night last year. It was a really good experience. Taylor Donaldson joins us now here from the press conference stage. Taylor, how you doing? Thanks for being with us.
Hi, good.
All right, Mike Corey with Ice Young and Phil Martelli.
Taylor, I think that you are really a special player in college basketball. Men's, women's, doesn't matter to me. So very directly, why was your portal transfer experience so positive? You almost tripled your scoring output, but what made the experience so positive for you?
I would just say I think Coach B, like her confidence she gives in me to be able to do what I do on the floor and just put the ball in my hands, and she has trust in me. And I think that really helped push my game to where it is now and excel on the floor.
Taylor, you led the conference in scoring last season, all conference first team here today. What are your personal goals for this season? How can you continue to up the ante?
Yeah, I just think trying to be the best me that I can for my teammates. It doesn't matter if it's scoring, rebounding, like anything my team needs, just me being at my very best. And I think the accolades and the wins will follow.
Taylor, I wanted to ask just, you know, from your perspective as a player, I mean, we're sitting here all the time talking about, you know, the new players and the transfers and this and that, and the freshmen. How do you mesh? How do you come together? Can you give us some experiences for you personally, either with this team or over the years, since you were a player that did move to a different school? You know, what is that like? How long does it take? Give us a little bit more, some of the ins and outs from a player perspective. I don't think we hear from the players enough about this.
Yeah, I think obviously going to a new school, there's going to be nerves and anxiousness going in because you don't really know what to expect. Being around new coaches, new teammates, but I think like this summer we got to go to Greece, and it's where we bonded a lot and we got to know each other more off the floor, which I really think grew our bond on and off the court. And I think that was something that was really important, just spending more time with your teammates off the floor to help that bond grow stronger.
All right, well, Taylor, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Wish you the best this season with you and your team.
Thank you.
All right, Taylor.